Hi guys, and welcome to a new and slightly different video on Sonal's life. Now, as you can tell from the title, we are looking at All Elite Wrestling's Full Gear show. Now, just a disclaimer, I have not watched the show, but as you can tell from the title, we are looking at the show from the perspective of a New Japan fan. Now, two major things happened last night. I guess I'll talk about the first one. Jay White had a title match for the AEW's world title against MJF. Now, I actually do watch a lot of AEW now. I watch most of the weekly episodes, especially if there are ex-New Japan stars in it. And Jay has been really built as this strong character. Now, going into the match, MJF was injured. There was a lot of hoo-ha going on. And I guess, as much as I wasn't happy with Jay White going to AEW, I thought, right, well, the best way to prove that he is that person, he is that guy that everyone wanted to sign, was to give him the title. Now, that didn't happen. According to fans, now, there has been mixed views on this match. I think, really specifically, a lot of people did not like it. Now, it went about half an hour, and, there was an ambulance, Adam Cole, limping, MJF had one leg, and now this is where there was some mixed sentiments from fans. So some said that after 30 minutes, Jay White wrestling basically someone who was wrestling with one leg because obviously the injuries and stuff, that MJF still managed to get quite a clean win, whereas some people said it wasn't. Now, I think the main gripe a lot of people had with this was that Jay White is one of the best wrestlers in the world, one of the best speakers in the world. And that's not just me saying it from a Jay White fangirl perspective. He is generally the proper wrestler. And I guess for the fact that someone as dastardly as him, someone who has beat Kazuchika Okada, who has beat Hiroshi Tanahashi, who has beat Tetsuya Naito, who has beat some of the best in New Japan, it took 30 minutes for this match to go on and he still didn't win. Now, I guess my issue is, where does he go from here? It is the classic symptom of oh wow, Jay White's in New Japan. Oh wow, he's been pushed into this main event status where he belongs after being in the main event on so many New Japan events. But he lost. So what happens now? Let's look at his career, let's say, in New Japan. So when he came back from excursion, he challenged Hiroshi Tanahashi to a singles match. Lost it, but then I think was it the next night or at some point during January, he then beat Kenny Omega for the United States Championship. So he built himself up, then made himself the leader of the Bullet Club, then got his World Heavyweight Championship shot and won it. Now, albeit it wasn't the best title shots that he ever got, but we saw a journey from him going from young lion, and it was a slow progression. So in between that, even those losses that he got, so in things like the New Japan Cup and the G1, were not huge on the large grand scale of things. But where does Jay White go from here? There's smaller titles, they're not smaller, but the less prestigious titles, not the top titles. But then is that not just a step down for Jay? Having him in the main event so early and then having him lose, it's well, where does he have to go? And I guess you can understand this from Jay White fans' perspectives, that we were very happy. We were right, we were worried at first. We were will Jay get that same push? And he seemingly did. But now this is the key moment. What will Tony Khan do with Jay White following this? Again, Jay White is one of the best. He has committed to AEW with, unlike what I'm going to speak about next, no real leniency to be able to go back to Japan since he was kicked out of New Japan and Japan, basically everything. Thank you, Eddie Kingston and Hikuleo. But it will be interesting to see where Jay White goes from here. Will he be a tag team with Juice Robinson? Will he go for one of the other titles? Will we see him in other promotions, so Ring of Honor, TNA, which was Impact, things like that? Now, we have spoken about a man who left the New Japan choo-choo train. Whoop, whoop. God, it feels like ever, but actually it was only at the start of the year. And now we speak about one of our beloved New Japan stars who has, I guess much to the rumours, has now officially made the move to AEW. Now, Will Ospreay is if not the best professional wrestler in the world. The best professional wrestler in New Japan, one of the hottest years, Mr. I am selfish and is going to take Dave Meltzer's every 5-star match possible. Now, there were rumours, and New Japan, AEW and Ospreay has made it clear that his contract was running out. I guess many of us thought that his contract was not up until February next year, because obviously he's got a Tokyo Dome match for the United States Championship or whatever New Japan comes up with against Jon Moxley and David Finlay. So you can imagine my surprise when I woke up, thought, let's check out the results for Jay, and found Ospreay had tweeted this image. Will Ospreay is now All Elite Wrestling. Now, before I say anything, Tony Khan, why do you steal all the people that I love? You know, I'm going through the list, so I'm going to miss someone. Jay White, Aussie Open, Kota Ibushi, Takeshita, now Will Ospreay. However, we're going to look at this from like a non-biased perspective. I am gutted that Ospreay is no longer full-time New Japan. He made his presence known at the AEW show, and then in the media scrum he spoke about this. Now, what is interesting though is compared to guys like Aussie Open and Jay White, there seemed like a lot of leniency in his deal. So obviously Tony Khan offered him a shit ton of money. A shit ton of money that New Japan cannot offer. Now, people need to realise that while New Japan is the biggest, probably, Japanese pro wrestling company, Japanese wrestling is not as big as it used to be. And the pandemic played a huge part in this issue. So while many companies were basically saying to their wrestlers, we can't afford to pay you if you can't wrestle, New Japan, for a solid moment of time, and remember how strict Japan was with their COVID rules, they were paying their wrestlers the proper wages throughout this entire time, while not really earning money aside from the New Japan World subscriptions. So there were huge events that they had to miss out on, and that obviously meant that they do not have the money. The balance of like, oh, you need to pay him like an Okada or Tanahashi or Naito really emphasizes this love of Japanese fans of Ospreay. Yes, they love him so much. However, is he an Okada, Tanahashi or Naito? 3 guys who were brought up in the system and who are like the top pillars of New Japan. While he could easily have been, at this point in time, was it enough for New Japan to give Ospreay the money that he needed for his family? No, so that's where Tony Khan came in. Now, Ospreay has sent out a video message, and you can see it on his social media or on Twitter in general, that this is not the last time that New Japan fans will see him. Again, he has Wrestle Kingdom on the way, so we assume that he'll hopefully be at the Road 2 shows. But there were certain things in the wording of this press conference that quite intrigued me compared to the other New Japan wrestlers who have gone. He explained that he has that flexibility. He will be seen in New Japan again. And the main one, not only aside from him saying about his family, like the money and things, but he said that his child will not have to move schools in the UK. Now, what this means to me is that compared to many others, so even like Moxley, Kenny, when they were signed like New Japan, AEW, like they had titles, Ospreay will have a much more flexible schedule. So I don't think he'll be expected on TV every week. He won't be expected in America every week. He's not moving out there, it seems. And this might give that flexibility that Ospreay wants for New Japan, for his family, for wrestling. That, I guess people say that WWE didn't offer. I mean, I genuinely think Ospreay was never going to go to WWE. It's just not right for him. So, yeah, I guess we've said this. With his contract ending and with the idea that it was a battle between who can pay him the most. Not saying that, like, that is what's important to Ospreay. I know it isn't. I'm just saying, like, realistically for most of us, especially if you've got a family and you're getting older, money and having security for those you love is important. And I really hope that Ospreay's words are true and that Tony Khan sticks with this idea that we will see Ospreay in Japan. Because again, while like I feel that everyone is worried about Ospreay leaving, it is not the first time it has happened that a guy Gokujin, a foreigner, has left New Japan and thought it would leave a big hole. Happened when Prince Devitt left, AJ Styles, the Elite, Jay White, but there is always somebody ready to take on the shoes of the next Guy Kokujin, sorry. While I don't think it will be David Finlay, who I'm pretty certain will win at Wrestle Kingdom. we've got a whole heap of rising stars. We have the young lions, so the foreign young lions, Lube and Oleg. We have the upcoming, the Gaikokujin wrestlers who are now making their way through the system. So Callum Newman, you've got the members of War Dogs, so Clark Connors, Gabriel Kidd, Alex Coughlin, Dan Maloney. You've then got the certified stars. So remember, you've got the likes of TJP, who after Ospreay's announcement and then Hanari, after Hanari made a post about Ospreay as a leader, said something big is coming. So yeah, remember, TJP has been wrestling for 30 plus years, so that is someone. There are always Robbie Eagles, people like that. There are always people ready to take a stand. And I guess the biggest one, and God, I hope that he stays, Zack Sabre Jr. You will never have a shortage of foreign talent, but I think New Japan knows to an extent that they are not the ones that you can put your, not trust in, but invest in the most, because at the end of the day, many will not want to stay in Japan. And I keep remembering all this, GOD, so Tamatonga, Tangaloa, Hikaleo, ELP, all of these foreign guys are stars and can help hold the company. But I think New Japan is going down the route as they also want to focus on their Japanese talent, because they know that they are probably more likely to stay in New Japan their whole life because they are settled and based in New Japan. So the three Reiwa Musketeers, Uemura, we've got a new class of young lions set to debut. So I think, as sad as I am to see Ospreay leaving, you guys know how much I have loved Ospreay. I guess he was one of the reasons, along with Zach, that I started watching New Japan. I got told about them, watched some British independent stuff, and found out they were in New Japan. But the future of New Japan is so bright. Yes, Ospreay may not permanently be in New Japan, but I hope that he continues to make his appearances, because he has really helped build the company through the hardest times. And I guess I just want to wish Ospreay the best of luck, because he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And whatever company was lucky enough to have him, please make use of him. Please appreciate him. And yeah, I will now have even more of a reason to tune into AEW. So yeah, this was a quick video. Like I said, I didn't watch Full Gear, but this was just sort of my take on the two stars who obviously have meant the world to me. Jay and Ospreay were the first two New Japan wrestlers I met. So back in 2018, when I went to a Rev Pro show, I bought a meet and greet for them. And it was just, I guess, what kickstarted the reason for this channel. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the result to Jay White versus MJF? And what do you think the future is like for Will Ospreay now he is All Elite? Let me know in the comments, on social media at wrestling_chat. And while you are there, make sure to hit like, share and subscribe, because yes, Ospreay might be All Elite, but he's still set for Wrestle Kingdom, and I guess we've got so much coming up. World Tag League, Road to Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Kingdom, and I will be documenting it all. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my video, and I will see you soon. Bye!